This is Will Nunziata, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film. And today I am thrilled to be speaking with the internationally acclaimed fashion and portrait photographer, the one and only YUKI TEI. Hello, YUKI, how are you?
Hi, I'm well. How about yourself?
YUKI, I'm doing so much better now that I'm speaking with you. I love that photo that you took from your Lower East Side apartment.
Yes.
I love it. So
Yes.
beautiful. But we'll just pretend that that's
Okay.
outside your window right now.
Yes,
Listen,
that
Yuki.
works.
Question number one for you, my friend.
Mhm.
Yuki, I want to know, where were you born and when did you realize that you loved photography so much?
I was born in Japan. A very unique situation. I was born in Japan to Korean parents. And so even I was born in Japan, I had a mixed culture, Japanese culture and Korean culture. And also my father was an architect and a photographer and martial artist. So odd, right? So it's all about discipline. Right? So basically when I was even young, my dad gave me basically the camera, and on the weekends he would shoot. So I would just tag along with him, and basically I'll be his assistant. So even when I was at early age, I always had a photography background. So I still remember. I think that's the biggest influence was from my dad, and also the collection of the Magnum photos, always surrounded by his friends who are also photographers. And my mom was a school teacher. So I grew up in a household that's really full of art. And I think that was one of the biggest influence.
I love that, Yuki. I love that you had a supportive family because, as we probably know, we were talking offline, probably
Yes.
so many people in common, but we probably know a lot of artists that don't have that support that me and you had growing up. And
Okay.
I want to know, Yuki, your work has been seen all over the world. And I want to remind the audience, for
Sure.
Yuki's work, you can go right below this video and click the links to his Instagram, his website. You're such a beautiful photographer, Yuki, and I want to
Thank
know,
you.
of the hundreds upon hundreds of photo shoots that you've had in both fashion, portrait, is there one or two particular experiences that you hold very close to your heart?
I've done a lot of photo shoot. So every photo shoot has its own unique story. I think I also write, and I have my own article series. I've been publishing my own work for the last 11 years. So how I do is basically I interview artists and I photograph them. So everything how I work is an organic way. One specific thing, I think one musician I was photographing, and I was at his house. He was with Miles Davis back in the 60s. And so we're talking about how Miles Davis was. This is amazing. So you could get asked the person who was actually part of history. So anyway, so I basically asked him, just be yourself and comfortable. And I think the first thing that you got to make person feel comfortable and trust you. As a photographer, that's part of my job. And so he was not up for it, but after a few minutes, we talk about it. We had the same topic and the conversation. We also happen to know the same people in common. So he kind of opened up. So I was started shooting. I was like, hey, you're going to be in the cover of the GQ magazine. You look fantastic. It's, about interaction, relationship. And so after I was shooting, and after I was like 5 minutes, and so he was really excited. Then all of a sudden he said, let me change my clothes. Okay, that's great. So he went back to his closet, and he came back and he put the suit, beautiful suit. Oh, that's great, looks great. And he said, this is a suit that my wife bought, that she passed away, but he never had a chance to wear. So that moment, I was like, wow. Unfortunately, when I photographed, I cannot capture everything with the story behind to it. But that moment, the mood and feeling, I try to capture. Even people who see my photos, they may not know. But every shadow, every photo I take, it has its own unique, the story. So it's very hard for me to say one.
I know, Yuki, I know that's a
Yeah.
hard question for me to ask because I'm sure like they're all like your babies. It's like saying,
Yes.
what's your favorite child? But
Yes.
I love that story, Yuki. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it's also that I photograph from baby to the adult, any age, any race, and then it doesn't matter. So I try to capture the best version of who he or she is.
I love that. I love that you're able to, Yuki, you have the ability to not only make someone feel comfortable, but whether they're an everyday person or a celebrity, that you treat them each like a star. You treat
Yes.
them each like the most important person in the world right then and there. And I think that takes such a beautiful way that you can't teach in
I
photography
think
school.
so. I think so. Even though you as a performer, you interact with audience and you feel maybe some show you do well, some other show you may not do well. Depends how, if the audience is very enthusiastic and excited, so you get really hyped up and, so yeah, it's just, it's depends, but I will
Yeah.
try to bring the A game and the best and try even because they say these days camera and digital photography is so affordable, so everybody basically even can get the DSLR. But how do I photograph the same person? Let's say you and I photograph the same person. You photograph different way that I do. And I think that's the beauty of photography because we all have a unique way to see the things. And so photography is basically part of a reflection of who you are. And also when I do portrait, I try to get best out of the person. And of course you photograph, and I'm sure you see the person different way. So I think always interesting. I'm a lifetime student. So I always
Yuki, I love
learning.
artists that say that. I love artists that say they're a lifetime student, that you're always learning, always open to learning something new. And Yuki, before I ask my final question, I want to let the
Okay.
audience know for more on the amazing Yuki Tei, you can read more about
Thank
him
you.
right below this video. Yuki, I have a question. I'm going to throw you a curveball here.
Okay.
If you could give advice
Mhm.
to any young photographers out there who want to do what you're doing, what advice would you give them?
I think I'm first of all, be humble, open-minded, and don't be afraid to make a mistake. I think you learn more by making mistake. Of course, if you can avoid making mistake, that's great. Also, that in my work, I mentor, train a lot of young photographer, and I teach. Teaching is part of my sanity because I always say, learn to share, share to learn. Everybody's different. It doesn't matter where they come from, how old they are, even having their bad day or good day doesn't matter. I always interested in learning and getting to know people. So my advice for as a photographer, I think I still remember first day my dad gave me the old camera and he just gave me and he told me have fun with it. And back then there's no digital camera and you don't know what you capture, what you're photographing till you develop the film. So I be telling a lot of young students, just get a film, 35 millimeter, and learn lighting, composition, the basic, and also put everything in it. Today is a digital world we live in. We can do Photoshop. Okay, that moment, put everything in it. It's so learn all the craft, and you'll be surprised. I think just try, and we have so much information available, but always focus on yourself and just believe in yourself and keep working hard. And even every time I tell the same thing to other people, I tell to myself as well. So I think and don't pay attention to naysayers. Just trust yourself. You love what are you doing, and just spend time and keep pushing yourself. And that's what I can say.
It's
The
beautiful,
best.
Yuki.
I don't know. There's so many things I want to say, but
Yuki, that is perfect, my friend. Well, listen, I could speak with you all day, but I want to let the audience know again. For more on the
okay.
amazing Yuki, you can read more about him right below this video. Yuki, I'm so excited that you're joining this amazing new social media app where your work is now going to be seen not only in this country, but around the world, many of the places where your art and photography has been seen already. And Yuki, I'm
Thank
so
you.
grateful that we're connected now because we probably
Okay.
know so many people in common here.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Thank you so much for your time, my
Okay, it's my
friend.
pleasure. Okay, thank you very much.